You keep checking the phone in your hand because the message or the call you've been waiting for since this morning still hasn't come. And once again, that strange heaviness settles between your chest and your stomach. But what if this anxiety, this restlessness you're feeling, isn't really about other people at all? What if it's because you've never truly taken control of your own mind? I know that's hard to admit to yourself, but today we're going to put an end to the exhausting chase for love, attention, and validation that's been consuming your mind, because the desire to be approved by others spreads through the human mind like poison, and over time, it slowly turns a person into a puppet. So now, come with me on a journey back 2,000 years, to a path followed by everyone from emperors to slaves. Imagine a Roman emperor ruling the most powerful empire of his time, surrounded by betrayal, wars, political conflict, disease, and uncertainty. Now imagine the complete opposite, a slave, living every day with the fear of being whipped, or worse, being thrown to the lions. No freedom, no voice, no value in the eyes of society. And yet, despite their completely different lives, both the emperor and the slave were searching for the answer to the same question. How can I find peace? They understood something important. Human emotions cannot always be controlled. Tomorrow is uncertain. And once you surrender yourself completely to events, to other people's behavior, to outcomes you cannot control, you become like a ship in the middle of a storm with broken sails and no rudder. And in the middle of all this chaos and hopelessness, a completely different philosophy was born in ancient Greece and Rome, Stoicism, a philosophy that taught people not to run away from problems, but to face them, not to kneel, but to endure. And Stoicism says something powerful. When you stop searching for peace outside yourself, you slowly begin returning to yourself. It sounds simple, but in reality, it's incredibly difficult, because most people spend their entire lives trying to control everything: relationships, people, the future, life itself. We don't want people to leave us. We want everything to happen exactly the way we imagined. We don't want life to hurt us, but life does not move according to our plans. The Stoics realized this a very long time ago. They believed humanity's greatest suffering does not come from events themselves, but from desperately trying to control everything. And honestly, they weren't wrong, because people only begin to relax once they learn how to let go. Think about swimming against a powerful current. The harder you fight, the more exhausted you become. Sometimes you also have to trust the flow and know this is not weakness. This is not surrender. It's simply accepting that life will never be fully under your control, that not everyone will understand you, and that you cannot change everyone. Even if you give your absolute best, some things still won't go the way you hoped. And strangely enough, once a person truly accepts this, they become far more peaceful. This also applies to relationships. If someone doesn't want to stay in your life, you cannot force them to stay. And you cannot earn real love by constantly trying to prove your worth. People naturally feel closer to those who are at peace with themselves, because those people don't carry the energy of desperation. They don't constantly seek approval. They don't move through life driven by fear and anxiety. They don't feel incomplete inside themselves. They don't need constant validation. They simply act as who they truly are, And honestly, this is where real attractiveness begins. They don't change themselves while loving someone. And even when they deeply want another person, they do not abandon themselves. One of the biggest problems many people experience is this. They determine their self-worth based on how other people behave toward them. If the message arrives late, their mood changes. If nobody calls them, they feel unwanted. And once the attention disappears, they begin feeling worthless. But this kind of life slowly destroys a person. And this is exactly what Stoicism teaches. Do not place your will into the hands of other people, because inner peace is not something given to you by the outside world. It is something you build within yourself. And building that balance takes time. Sometimes when you're alone with yourself, you finally realize how exhausted you've become, how dependent you've become on validation, how deeply you crave love and approval. But strangely, this realization is actually a good thing, because this is where change begins. The moment you truly begin knowing yourself, everything starts changing. When you stop ignoring your flaws, stop running away from your weaknesses, and stop constantly comparing yourself to others, a real transformation begins inside your mind. Every person has a unique inner world, but most people spend their lives looking outward instead of looking within themselves. And you are no different. You also have an entire universe inside you. Yet most of the time, instead of discovering yourself, you search outside for meaning. So now, pause for a moment, think, listen. Because true confidence begins the moment you start listening to your own inner voice. And once you truly hear that voice, you begin respecting yourself. You stop throwing yourself in front of people for approval. You stop wasting your life trying to impress everyone. You finally experience the peace of simply being yourself, without exhaustion, without pretending, without constantly feeling broken. And that is a rare kind of strength. The same is true for emotions. All of us experience fear, anxiety, anger, sadness. But Stoicism does not teach people to become emotionless. It teaches people not to become controlled by their emotions. You can feel anger without becoming cruel. You can feel fear without giving up. People may hurt you, you may feel sadness, but you should never see yourself as worthless because of it. And as people mature, they eventually learn one important truth. Emotions come and go, but character remains. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once said, "The quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." If your mind is constantly filled with negativity, the world begins to feel threatening. And if you always believe you are incomplete, nothing will ever truly satisfy you. But when a person trains their mind with better thoughts, life itself slowly begins changing. As Epictetus, a man born into slavery who later became free, once said, "No person living in fear, sorrow, and anxiety is truly free. And once you free yourself internally, your burdens become lighter. You become calmer, stronger, more resilient. You stop being ashamed of who you are. Your fears begin fading away. Your anxieties loosen their grip on your life. And little by little, you become free." This is one of the most beautiful parts of Stoicism. Stoicism does not demand perfection from you. It teaches awareness, consciousness. It teaches you to understand what truly matters, to stop living blindly, like a car out of control or a plane stuck on autopilot. And if you look carefully, most people are not truly living. More attention, more success, more approval. But if a person's inner world is empty, no amount of fame, money, attention, or validation will ever be enough. The emptiness always remains. So where does real peace begin? The moment you accept yourself as you are, the moment you stop trying to control everything, the moment you stop obsessing over what other people think of you. That is when a person truly begins to breathe. And the beautiful part is this: the more a person makes peace with themselves, the more other people naturally move closer to them. Because people who truly know themselves, people who are genuine, sincere, real, and internally peaceful, are magnetic. They stand out immediately. Maybe that's why the strongest people are usually the quietest ones. And maybe the only thing we truly need in life is the ability to remain strong within ourselves. Because this world will always contain pain, problems, uncertainty, emotions will change, thoughts will change. Life will sometimes hurt you, but once you build a strong inner fortress within yourself, nobody can truly destroy you. No storm can shake you completely. And maybe this is the true purpose of Stoicism: not escaping life, not surrendering, not giving up, but remaining strong within life itself, without collapsing, without losing yourself, standing tall and staying true to who you are.